Hey, you can pull them, you can't you? Right, gentlemen, we've had a good chat earlier, obviously, about your careers so far, your seasons so far, which are both going well. Obviously, Ben's a lot better now, and yours good, on the up. Pretty much a bit of history, really. Obviously, yourself and your brother, Sam, started really on 125s. That's where I remember you from the most, to be honest, on your 125s in the British Championship, and there's obviously young lads coming through, costing your own man a fortune, crashing your brains out, and just being quite normal as a bike racer, really. But you know, as far as that goes on the 125s for a few years, how was that? Was it a good time? Was it just a massive steep learning curve?
Yeah, I think it's difficult. You will know as well, and I'm sure Ben knows. When you're just starting and someone's paying for your racing, you enjoy it, but there's always the side of it when you are crashing. There's the relationship between, obviously, me and my dad that was paying for my racing was quite hard work, because he's working his ass off to pay for my racing, and I'm chucking down the road every 5 minutes. So that was hard, and obviously, you know, with school and everything as well at that age, you can't quite enjoy it as much as you do when you're older. But yeah, it was great, and I really value them years a lot, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and obviously it's a massive steep learning curve, as we said earlier. But you know, you kind of, who was the best, you or Sam, on the 125?
I was better than him on 125, and on 600, and on I was actually better than him, but I crashed a lot more. I was faster, but I crashed more, so I don't know, depends which. I'd say I was faster. I'll leave it at that. I was definitely faster than him. Probably didn't always beat him in the race, because I'd be sat on top of a tyre wall watching him ride around, but I was faster than him.
I've actually spoken to him earlier and just got a bit of dirt on you, so be careful what you say. No, but obviously, you know, as far as the 125s are concerned, a massive, you know, effort from the factories in obviously GP racing, as well as all your national championships. And for me, you know, to watch the 125s at Grand Prix level back in the old two-stroke days, you know, all the way through, was flipping awesome racing, and it was always tended to be kind of the best race of the day, really. But as opposed to then to now being the four-stroke era at Moto3, what's your opinion on that, or would even you be interested in riding it? You're a small lad, you probably go well with the Moto3.
Yeah. Moto3 is, you know, obviously the bike, so it's more a youngsters class. I'm 22 now, so obviously I'm getting on a little bit, and you know, I'm probably a bit too old for that class, but the bikes look loads of fun, you know. They look like they can carry so much corner speed, and they look I wouldn't know, I've not actually rode one, but they look just as much fun to ride, if not more fun, than the old 125s used to be, because they start to slide a little bit into the corners now. If you ever saw a 125 sliding into the corners, because you stood on the back brake because you're going far too fast.
Yeah, or he was about to crash anyway. But no, Ben, going back to that, I had to be careful what I asked you, because you're so flipping, you know, 1990, he was born, there's a lot of names I was going to mention, you'd think, what's this dickhead talking about now? But Ben, you know, you mentioned earlier, when I asked you your favourite all-round kind of sports personality rider was Kevin Swans, which is me the same, to be honest, from 500 Grand Prix back in the old two-stroke days. But again, back in those days, you know, you got obviously, you know, your Swans Rainey era, and it went on to do and kind of dominating for 3 or 4 years really on the 500s. Kenny Roberts Jr. that came through and won it, I think, in 2000, and looking up on riding his bike in 2 weeks' time at Spa on the old V4, which I'm really looking forward to. And then Gibbernow, and then along comes Rossi and spoils everybody's party. But I mean, for me, that era was mega racing, a good spectacle. And the same for you, or a bit before your time?
No, obviously I used to think it was fantastic. We actually went to the British Grand Prix when Swans made about 3 corners, and then he got fetched off. But I remember crying all day because I'd been waiting that long to go and see him. But you know, fantastic racing, no traction control, no nothing back in them days, and riding on square tyres. Them boys were proper men.
Mate, they were legends. You know, when I broke my neck, I spent a lot of time in the hyperbaric chamber, and all he was allowed in there was a little DVD player, and I watched all the old DVDs all the way through that era. You know, you can't believe they used to do probably, I don't know, 30 laps on them 500s back in those days, and then set off and somebody would have a 5-second lead, the tyres would go off, and everybody was catching, just mega racing. But obviously, things changed around dramatically when it went four-stroke. You know, and again, some good racing, but seems to be a little bit drawn out and a little bit lethargic now. Not lethargic, the boys at the front are still very special, but you know, in my opinion, it's kind of the sport of racing a little bit. You?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's there's only going to be probably now Cal's got involved in it as well. It's obviously we all like shouting for him, but there's normally about 5 bikes, and then that's it at MotoGP level, to be honest. But you know, you've got to remember the last man on that grid's so fast. Everybody's got to understand how quick that actually is. To see how quick Cal's going this year, and obviously previous years, he's riding like a legend, and I think he's definitely the one that I shout for now, and he's doing a good job. So you know, it's always fun to watch that.
No, well, I'm pleased you mentioned it. You know, there's another question I was going to ask you later about, obviously, Cal. You know, we've all been with Cal, we all know what Cal's like, and, you know, as a personality as well as a rider, you know, he's a little bit abrupt and says what he thinks, and or quite often doesn't engage his brain before he engages his mouth. But good lad, I love him to bits, and, you know, obviously gives 200% into his riding and his training, but can he win?
To be honest, yeah, I think he can. You know, he's set off in his race in the right way. You know, and he's made massive leaps in such a short amount of time. You know, I can remember when he first started in the R6 Cup, and you know, you could tell the boy had talent then, and to do what he's doing now is just absolutely fantastic. And you know, I've been on the odd stag do with Cal and had some good nights with him outside of racing, and you know, he's an absolute legend, and for him doing what it is, it's a privilege to have raced with him, and yeah, he's hopefully he can fly the flag for us, and he can get us our first win for a long time.
Yeah, no, you know, perfect words, to be honest. It's kind of one of those things that, you know, we're very, very lucky, obviously in the World Superbike Championship, to have a lot of riders at the front of the field. You know, it's a bit like a PSP from a few years ago, really. But as far as the MotoGP is concerned, you know, Cal's obviously flying the flag. You know, and even Michael Lavery's doing a cracking job for what he's riding and what he's doing. But, you know, Cal's obviously knocking on the door through qualifying and practice times, but obviously in a race it's a little bit difficult when people like those two magic guys in the front are doing the perfect lap times every lap of the race, and probably doing the lap records right at the end of the race.
Yeah, I think we've all been guilty of actually seeing somebody that's riding at their absolute best, and when when you're out there on the circuit and you're up against somebody like, say for instance, I was in 2011 with my teammate at Snetterton. He could ride absolutely lap record pace every single lap, and I could match it for 2 or 3 laps, and then you just see him drift away and drift away. There's nothing worse than that, but for someone to be doing it lap after lap after lap, it's it's a difficult thing to try and keep up with him. But you know, I'm sure there's more to come from Cal once he gets a better bike underneath him, and you know, that bike that's underneath him now is definitely not it's not a bag of bolts or anything like that, but you know, I think when he gets the better bike, I think I think he can run with the big boys.
Well, I hope so, I really do. World Superbike, Alex. Is it, you know, obviously I'm talking about the golden era, what I call the golden era. I might be showing my age a bit now. But obviously, you know, for World Superbikes through your Foggy, Edwards, like Gobert, Harbour, Corsa, you know, no traction control, fantastic racing. There's probably 6 or 8 people that could win a race, no problem. No traction control, no one-make tyre rules, the kind of everything was wide open. You know, fantastic racing. And is that what kind of, obviously you was very young then, but was that something that you aspired to and really wanted to kick into?
Yeah, I think most people remember you either love or hate Cole Fogarty, but you can't deny them. When he was winning at Brands Hatch, there was 120,000 people there to watch him. It was a special thing. So when I was that age, I was more into your MotoGP and Valentino Rossi and all his antics off the bike. When you're a kid, it was quite fun. But football superbikes, the era just after that with Bayliss and Edwards, and those sort of days when I was really starting to watch World Superbikes properly. But World Superbikes for me, it's always been good because with the 2 races and how it is and how the weekends out, the racing has always been closer over the MotoGP. You know, when I was getting into racing and Rossi was winning MotoGP, it had already gone to the stage where he was miles in front of 2nd place. He might have the odd guy to battle with, but the field was quite strung out. Whereas in World Superbike, it seemed to get close racing all the way down the grid, which is something that as a fan you want to watch. And also as a British guy, we've done better in World Superbike, so you've always had a little bit of interest there. But like just to touch on what I said about Cal, he's doing an awesome job, and we definitely need British guys on the podium in MotoGP.
Who's a Foggy fan? Stick your hand up if you're a Foggy fan. No, I only asked. No, I've got the same. You know, I spend a bit of time with Foggy now doing this sort of thing, and he's actually chilled out a little bit now. Now that competitive side's gone out of his nature, he's kind of more approachable and a bit more fun to be with. But you know, as a racer, he's probably one of my all-time heroes. Not because just because of the World Superbike thing, but I've always been kind of in my career. I've always wanted to be good at every discipline, from road racing to world endurance and short circuits, which Foggy was, you know, world champion at them all, and obviously won the TT, the Northwest and Macau Grand Prix. And for me, it really is something special. And I'm very, very sure he would have been in the front in GP as well, even from his wildcard rides and like the Kajiva and stuff. But you know, from that era, you know, back in those days, Ben, you know, the World Supersport, I said back in those days, kind of late 90s even, you know, I did quite a few wildcards back in that era, late 90s, when Whitton was riding the Yamaha for the Italia team. You know, fantastic. There was 100% anybody out of the top 10 could win races, and to even get in the top 10, you were proper on it. You know, that sort of racing, was that what you were staring at when you're coming through your stock days and the Supersport?
Yeah, obviously, I think the World Supersport back in the day was absolutely fantastic. I was lucky enough to race in 2002 at the Silverstone World Supersport race, and I had a few problems in qualifying. I fell off coming onto the start and finish straight, and all I had left was a tank in the middle of the track, so I just ran and picked this tank up. I don't know why, but I walked back off with this tank, and then they ended up qualifying in the wet, and I made the grid by 0.1 of a second, which was, you know, obviously I was on the World Supersport grid and I didn't care. So yeah, we started the race off dead last, and ended up in the rain that I've never been on a track as wet in all my life. You needed a jet ski, to be honest, to ride round, and Whittam actually won that race whilst being on his arse. So you know, they red flagged the race, but he won the race and then promptly fell off. But fair play to him, he still won the race. But it's fantastic riding with them sort of people, and you know, obviously I'd love to do a World Supersport, you know, race again, and obviously a race with Sam and everything like that. But you know, at the minute we don't seem to be able to raise funds to be able to do that. But you know, you never know in the future if we can do, and it'd be fantastic to have another go now.
Yeah, it's certainly getting, you know, on that subject, tougher and tougher. You know, every year the way things are going, to find a decent ride, or a ride that obviously, or a team that's good enough to cope with the talents of people like you two. You know, it is obviously a team effort, and you've got to be with the right package. But you know, just explain to the people here what it's like now, just to try and land a ride in the World Championship.
Yeah, to get around in the World Championship is obviously really difficult. Half the problem I think you've got nowadays is there's a lot of people that take a lot of money and bring sponsorship to teams to pay for a ride. And I was just saying to Ben actually when we was having dinner before, if every rider in the world, if not one rider in the world did that, then no one would have to do that. But the fact you've got people coming from all these different countries and getting pretty good World Supersport rides, when I'm not being nasty, but arguably, you know, as number 2 rider in some of the teams that don't really deserve the ride, you're riding a flat 2 Kawasaki and finishing in 26th place because you've got a big check. It's not really something we've seen in the past. You know, you got a factory bike through finishing on the podium and getting good results, and that's the only thing that's a little bit disappointing for me. You know, if you're winning races and working as hard as you can and finishing up there on whatever bike you've got, you deserve to get an opportunity at the next step. And you know, fingers crossed, I don't know if it is getting better, but fingers crossed it will get a bit better, and you'll see that, you know, the best guys getting the right opportunity.
Yeah, without that, you know, and as far as even for the World Supersport, with, you know, with your, I was going to say your kid brother, with Sam, you know, he's on one of the best rides in the paddock, as he should be, you know, his level at the moment. But as soon as you get past that, you know, there's an awful lot of funded rides and a lot of guys that I wouldn't say shouldn't be there. If they're paying the money, they're welcome to it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that are an awful lot faster and probably sitting at home just waiting for somebody to tip off and crash. So World Superbike now then. Ben, obviously it's very competitive now. You know, we said earlier about stepping up, and and we spoke earlier at lunch about you getting out of the UK, Alex, and obviously going to the World Championship. But World Superbikes now is proper, full-on, full factory machinery at the front. And even without being disrespectful to Paul Denning's Suzuka team, it's a fabulous bike and a good bit of kit, but it's far from the factory. Do you think it's really worth going to the championship to be on a bike that's not quite there when you've got World Championship riders, competing on full factory machinery?
Yeah, I think that's quite it's a difficult question, because obviously the bikes are, the top five teams, are absolutely fantastic, and like you said, if you're not on the good bikes, you're not going to be able to win. It doesn't matter how good you are, you can't give somebody of that calibre any advantage, and obviously I think the top five bikes are pretty much equal. Obviously you're not going to get a perfect bike on every corner, but the Kawasaki are obviously better than the Aprilia on certain circuits, and we've seen that, and they're all doing a fantastic job. Sykes is doing a fantastic job on the Kawasaki, and all the boys are going flat out. So it's the competitor, the depth of field in that class at the minute's fantastic. And but like I say, if you've not got the best bikes out there, you're not going to be anywhere near the front. And it's demoralising as a rider when you think you've got the ability, but you're having to ride so hard to make it up. That's when mistakes happen, and that's why you see some of the front runners, that aren't quite on the same sort of bikes crashing.
Eugene Lamptey obviously is on one of the leading bikes, and obviously going very well at the moment. Seems to be full of confidence. He's got quite a different approach to racing than a lot of riders, probably like yourself and like Leon and various other riders. It obviously works for him, and he's doing a fantastic job. Can he win the title?
Yeah, I'm sure he can win the title. I don't probably think he's going to win the title. I want him to win the title, but I think someone like Gintoldi or Melandri could end up winning the championship. The only thing with Eugene is that he tends to have a lot of bad days. I'm not criticising him whatsoever. I'd love him to win the championship, or personally I'd like Tom Sykes to win the championship, but he just seems to have, he's on a good bike, he's been on good bikes, he seems to make quite a lot of mistakes. So I don't know, I think he's definitely got the bike to win it, and Sykes has obviously got the bike to win it as well. So I don't know, we'll see what happens, but there's one thing, I think it's going to be close right down to the wire this year.
Okay, yeah, good. Well, I hope so. And obviously, I hope it's one of the UK guys that does it. For me out there in the World Superbike at the moment, the man of the year so far, 100% is Johnny Ray. The bike's slightly underpowered compared to. It's not full factory. It's a very good bike. It's not full factory, but that boy gives 120% every time he gets on it, and never whinges like Nicky Hayden was talking about earlier. So, he told me earlier, your hero, Rossi, your all-time hero. Is he queer?
No, I don't think he's gay. I'm not 100%, but I don't think he is. To be honest, I'm pretty sure it's not. When I was lucky enough to have when I did November Augusta European Championship, I went for a meal with some people from the team, and he was there with a girlfriend. So if he is gay, he put a big front on that now. And she was pretty fit, so I've done the same probably. But yeah, no, I don't think he's gay.
Good. Ben, he said obviously Kevin Swans is making a surprising comeback this year at the 8 Hour at Suzuka, teamed up with Yukio Kageyama and Nori Haga. He's probably going to be the reserve rider as such. So he's not riding. It's going to be Swans and Haga. Flipping heck, that makes it even worse. So Kageyama's broke his leg, he can't ride, so it's definitely going to be Kevin Swans and Noriaga. Flipping heck. So what do you think with that, mate? What do you think? Why bother? Why bother coming back?
To be honest, that bloke could jump on a bike and go lap record pace straight away. He's absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's got some serious wrinkles now, but he can still ride a motorbike. I remember watching him I went out to America and within a Suzuki race event out there, and he jumped on one of our bikes and he went just as quick as us lads were doing. You know what I mean? So that bloke can ride, so it'll definitely be worth watching that. I'm sure it'll be worth putting a bit of food quid on.
Mate, I spent a lot of time with him in Macau and at the TT, and that bloke can drink. It's probably a good job he's lanky and tall, but that bloke can drink, and he can drink whiskey like there's no tomorrow. Marquez. right? Obviously he's doing the business, but do you think he's going to be champion?
Honestly, I've got a sneaky bet with my brother that he will win the championship this year. And the one thing that I love about Marquez is he don't care about anything. He doesn't care if it's Valentino Rossi, Jorge Lorenzo, Danny Pedrosa. He just focuses on what he's doing, rides 100%, and don't care about anything. And that, to have that attitude in racing is really, really hard to do that because there's a lot of other stuff that comes into it. So I've got a lot of respect for him for that.
And lastly, Ben, obviously, you know, we spoke about it, you know, kind of all the way through about obviously UK talent now. It's brilliant. MotoGP, Cal, and all the World Superbike boys. Obviously, Sam out there in the Supersport and World Championship, and Moto 2, Scott Redding. You know, really come of age and settled down as well. He's grown up a little bit. He was kind of the daft lad in the paddock, and you know, always. Trying to keep up with Kevin Swan's drinking, shall we say, but he's kind of settled down now. He's got into his rhythm. He's leading the World Championship, doing a fantastic job. You know, do you think he can be Espargaro and you know people like Tito Rabat, who's fantastic riders? Do you think he can put it to bed and win a championship?
Yeah, obviously his form that he's on at the minute is fantastic, and what we've all got to remember is he's a lot heavier than everybody else out there, and you know that on a 600 that makes such a difference. And for him to be doing what he's doing, getting the leads he is, getting race wins and everything, it is so difficult. I mean, like I said before, most people don't realise how fast MotoGP is and Moto2 is. It's like a different level to anything we're used to, and them blokes out there can seriously ride, and he's got a serious talent, and to give that sort of, you know, he's obviously giving a disadvantage with his weight to still be able to win races. Yeah, I think that his aggression and everything like that, you know, if it's down to sheer will to win, I think he's got it.
I don't know, just talking to everybody as well, did you see the tweet that Lorenzo sent to Scott Redding? He sent him a tweet saying something along the lines of, "Look how the whole Moto2 grid, like I told him, Scott Redding's learned to grow up on and off track. Hashtag look out." I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, too right. Right, these boys are going to be around for the rest of the day, ducking and diving and having a wander, and we're doing another chat show later on tonight. Has anybody got any questions? Or phone numbers? The two girls at the back, have you got any phone numbers? Oh, get out of it. Any questions, anybody, please?
Is it worth me putting a tenner on you and your brother to win a championship this year?
Yeah, I'll put a 10 on it, so I might lend you it.
Tight Lincolnshire riders, eh? Any more?
Yes.
Ben, we watched you at Brands Hatch almost clinch the Supersport title. You think you're going to get there again because you got so close?
Obviously, you know, we're 32 points behind at the minute, and we've got, you know, we've got a fair way to go, and obviously we are out there to try and win that championship. I've been doing it for 5 years with the same team now, so obviously I want to win the championship. Obviously now I'm riding with my team partner was the bloke that beat me by 1 point, so obviously, you know, payback is a bit, you know, I do want to get payback, and yeah, for sure, you know, I think we've got a chance. We've got as good a chance as everybody else. You know, there's us three that seems to be just starting to break away in the championship, but it's definitely going to be tough. The lads who are out there are ultra fast, and we've got to be on top of our game to be able to beat them. But I don't go out there to finish second, and you know, I'd love to be able to bring the championship back to Lincolnshire, and obviously with Sam winning it and Steve winning it, you know, I feel like I'm a little bit of a bridesmaid at the minute, you know, and I want to be the bride.
Just on that subject, Ben, obviously, you know, you're on a great bike without doubt on the Gillick Kawasaki, and so is Stuart Easton on the Martrain Yamaha. What about the Triumphs this year? They've been kind of pretty dominant in the UK, not only in Europe, but in the UK for the last few years with Glenn Richards. Is Glenn just making a lot of mistakes trying to keep on the pace, or is the new bike not quite there?
I think, to be honest, I think the new bike isn't quite at the same level as what the old bike was, but you know, Glenn's trying really hard. He's still proved at Knockhill that he was right. He was on the front row of the grid in qualifying. He had that accident in the first race. I think he said it was down to a cold tyre or something like that. You know, it was a seriously cold day when we were racing there, and everybody can make mistakes, but you know, he paid dear for that. And I'm sure, obviously, Billy got third in the race, and you know, they're going to come strong throughout the season, and they're going to be definitely on our heels.
I never did make any mistakes, to be honest.
Oh no, you didn't, Steve.
Any more questions? No? Okay, oh, sorry, one more.
If you had a choice, both here, which GP team would you ride?
Honda.
Yamaha.
Any more? No? Okay, thanks very much for listening. If you'd like these guys to sign any posters for you, come and wander in here, make a nice orderly queue, behave, and I'm sure they'll accommodate for you. Thank you.
Cheers.